one thing you also kind of interested in is diversity. You know, in South Africa, our transformation pace has been very slow. What is it that we're missing?
There's nothing really that's missing. From a transformation in the workplace perspective, government must just enforce the rules.
Yeah.
I won't change if there's nothing that is forcing me. So we need an external force to come and say this is the change. A lot of times where people don't see the benefit of diversity is because they've never been exposed to it. They don't know what the benefit is because they are living in a sea of sameness for so long and things seem to work. So I honestly think diversity is an imperative. If you and I are sitting here, if I look at this plant right now, I can see from my vantage point and I can tell you I can see a complete picture because I can. But the picture is not complete because your angle
is different.
And that's what diversity brings into business. When I look at a situation and my colleague looks at a situation, we bring in the collective experience that we've had. And it is completely different. I come from a completely different background. You come from a different background. The next guy comes from a different background. Yeah. And when we sit together and we co-create, what we can co-create as a diverse group of people is completely unmatched to what can be co-created by people who are all the same. Because we've got so many different angles to look at. Yeah. And I think in South Africa, diversity is or transformation is seen as a threat. It actually isn't a threat. And I've challenged people, particularly when I've had ex-colleagues who've said, oh, you know, I'm white, I'll never get a job, you know, in this country and so on. And I say to them very simply, if you look at what the transformation targets are, you can look at it and say 26% of the jobs are reserved for black people. Or you can look at it and say over 70% of the jobs are reserved for white people. It's all about the vantage point that you're looking at. And people who are struggling the most with transformation or are having to face the barrel of a gun are people who didn't do it when they were supposed to.
Yes.
So everything is now being crammed into a very short space of time because you've had the opportunity.
25
you didn't
years.
do it,
yeah.
And now it's being imposed on you. So I think it's transformation is a business necessity. You access different markets the moment you have transformation. I can open doors that my colleagues can never ever be able to open. They can open doors that I can't open.
Without being corrupt. Because we usually get called in because we're going to be paying somebody not because of the skill set and knowledge that we bring to a particular situation.
And I can tell you now that if I walk into a certain room, I can have a rapport with people, certain people, and my other colleague who might happen to be a white male will have a rapport with others. If we can leverage both of these, we grow the cake.
Yeah, that's
this
what it's
thing
about.
Of being obsessed about shrinking ourselves to greatness is never going to take us anywhere. We must realize that competition is not within South Africa. Competition, we are competing against the European bloc. We are competing against the East. We are competing against, you know, the ECOWAS. We are competing against so many other places. And our job as South Africans is to put South Africa forward and is to put our best foot forward as a collective.
Instead of fighting each other.
Obsessing about, you know, I am this or that. And in fact, in South Africa, we try and reduce ourselves to the lowest point where it's like, okay, she is a Zulu girl from Umlazi, you know, that makes her different from a Zulu girl from Kwamashu or a girl from the Eastern Cape. No, we are South Africans first. And we need to look at ourselves as South Africans and make sure that we grow this country. Because if we grow this country, we make it prosperous, not only for my children, but for your children and everyone else's children.